I knew that there was something more than what I was being told growing up was possible for me. So what I learned back when I was in corporate, I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. I was exhausted and it wasn't fulfilling anymore. And I stayed as long as I did because there was still something for me to learn. When you switch into entrepreneurship, you really have to take on a CEO mindset. And I see so many people, including myself, make the mistake of starting a business as an employee. The only issue we have with mindset is that we allow ourselves to get frozen in inaction. That's your only mindset problem that you have.
Welcome to Comfortable Conversations. On today's episode, I am so excited for us to discuss discomfort. But this time around, we're going to discuss it in a way that really is about strategy. Lately, I've kind of been sitting with, what does it mean to be prepared? What does it mean to be strategic? What does it mean when you're reactive? How is your body in those moments? How is your mind? How are we actually shifting our mindsets, our heart sets, our soul sets, our health sets? Our guest today, Zhanna Blazej, is a leading voice when it comes to business, when it comes to strategy. She is an AI-driven messaging and business automation and the creator of the Conversion Method, a system that helps entrepreneurs turn their authentic voice into high-impact content that reaches the right people at the right time, every time. And even as I share that, you're like, what does that mean? We're going to go deeper into that. AI is a huge conversation. But to have Zhanna here and help you really understand the strategy and heart behind something and this automation and what is happening in our day-to-day and how do we integrate technology and still stay at the human heart center. Her story didn't just begin here in this moment. Her story begins back in Ukraine. I believe Zhanna's work blends resilience, vision, and empathy into every engagement. Her expertise positions her not only as a strategist, but a trusted partner to leaders looking to future-proof their brand in a rapidly evolving digital world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Zhanna Blazej to Comfortable Conversations.
Thank you so much for having me and for that amazing introduction.
Thank you. So, I said all of that, right? But, guys, I really want to really personalize every single guest that I have on. They're these amazing individuals who are subject matter experts, and they stand 10 toes in the lane that they're in. But also, how do I come across these amazing individuals, right? It's just me telling my story to them and them telling their story to me and Zhanna actually sat down and had just when I tell you, I was like, man, God is in this moment, right? We sat, we had lunch. We talked about business and mindset. And in that moment, I was like, she needs to come on the podcast because the people need to be impacted by her. So this conversation we're going to have today, me and her had already in the sense of I know the awesomeness of the strategic mindset power that you have. And a part of me wants to just dive there, but I really want to help our listeners understand, you also went through some level of discomfort. People can be really awesome subject matter experts and really be trailblazers in their industry, but that does not discount that obstacles, challenges still impact them. So it's the place you are is because of the things that happened to you that made you this version and made you kind of more aware, just everything. So Zhanna, I'm so excited. So what discomfort led you to this version of yourself?
Oh my goodness. That's a loaded question.
Always.
So I will start from the beginning. Right. I was born into a family that immigrated from the Ukraine to the States, escaping a government that was out to destroy their lives.
Okay.
And so, number one, going through a rather traumatic experience for my family, you can imagine that set the tone for how I was going to perceive the world.
Yeah.
The world is out to get you.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to work out in your favor.
Yeah.
Everything is in the dumps.
Yeah.
And I was almost 5 the year that we traveled to the States, getting pulled out of my environment growing up and being put into a completely new environment, not knowing the language. There was a lot of bullying.
Yeah.
Feeling like the outcast for most of my life.
Yeah.
And then as I grew older, witnessing the struggles that my parents went through, not having the language, not being able to find work that's substantial, that's going to support you. We were on government assistance.
Oh, wow.
Having to go through the lunch line and have that little card.
Yeah.
Little punch card.
I can relate.
Not having enough money to buy new clothes, so they had to sew extenders into my jeans.
Oh, wow.
It was a really hardship. Yeah. There's a lot of hardship growing up. And I remember in my early 20s, actually it was closer to 18, I just knew I couldn't continue living in that narrative.
Yeah.
And so I moved out early. I moved out at 18. I was always a hard worker. I could work 10, 12, 15 hours. I just wanted to be productive.
Where were you living at? Like when you guys came to the U.S., where did you, what city were you in?
Oh, so we came to Chicago.
Okay,
We were in Chicago. I grew up most of my life in Chicago.
Okay.
Love Chicago. It was an intense city. Don't love the winters, which is why I no longer live there.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago as well, so I hear that I go. And
is that what it is? I didn't even realize
we all have that I go, nasally, but
Chicago. Yes. Yeah, but, it served its purpose. I enjoyed the city, but I did not enjoy the severe winters, working through those winters, and I just wanted to get out. But that's a story for another day. So I moved out when I was 18. I just started working, and I knew that there was something more than what I was being told growing up.
Okay.
Was possible for me. I could understand that there were certain limitations that my parents perceived in the world.
Right.
Something deep down inside of me said that this just can't be it.
Right.
And that was the catalyst for me to start seeking. Exploring.
Yeah.
And as I went into the workforce, I worked at a 24-hour health club.
Okay.
In Chicago. And I worked there for almost 10 years, worked my way up into the ranks of management. I was an operations manager and left that organization at one of their flagships.
Okay.
So, this is a 24-hour facility. Your brain never turns off. But I learned everything that you could ever imagine about business and operations, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
And understanding what it means to raise future generation leadership.
Okay.
Because that was one of my roles. I would instill leadership into new hires.
Okay.
These are like 18, 19-year-old kids coming in off the street, but developing them into leadership that would move up in the ranks was one of the things that I was known for.
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find longevity within this company? I think so many people, if you're in this space of seeking and searching and still being super curious and you're 18, 19 years old, what made you stay with this company and consider growth here versus the need to jump to the jump to the jump to the jump, which a lot of people actually do. It's oh, I love this company, but the value in actually staying in one company, finding that growth, actually settling in, how did you know to stay? Or did you really love the company in a way? So what was kind of happening there?
It's a really good question because when I reflect back, I wouldn't say that it was a conscious choice that I made.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a choice when I think back on it. What I mean by that is I was young.
Yeah.
I was impressionable. I wanted to feel useful and productive, and I wanted to succeed in life. And in this company, I was able to actually start seeing a measured result in what I was contributing. What I mean by that is I started in sales, which was terrifying because I hated sales.
Yeah.
Super uncomfortable with it. And I ended up, at one point, this is an interesting story, we were so short-staffed, and I was one of the salespeople. I ended up hitting the highest number of sales by, I think, mid-month, 1 month, in the whole company.
Oh, wow.
Now, that didn't go over well because you have assistant managers and GMs and their management teams all in the same position as me.
Oh, wow.
That are underneath me.
Oh, wow.
So that lasted a week before they stopped actually supporting my growth, which is really interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I remember this story because I was so proud
to hit this goal.
And it wasn't a goal that I was seeking to hit. I wasn't seeking to be number one. I knew that I needed to pay my bills. My base rate was very low, but my commission was good.
Yeah.
And what really helped me hit that number is, as I was saying, I was seeking to understand myself. I was seeking to understand people. I was seeking to understand what makes people connect and buy, because I wasn't interested in the sales tactics I was being taught, those sleazy car sales tactics, unfortunately, which are running rampant everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, if I have to be here, if I have to learn this skill set, I'm going to do it on my terms, and I'm going to see what God teaches me. And I'm going to say that because the goals that I was hitting do not make sense. For a brand new, newbie little girl that doesn't know anything about sales, that came in for a couple trainings and all of a sudden is hitting these like wild numbers.
They're like, how are you getting these people? How are you getting these memberships? Like, what are you really saying to them?
It was, to them, we were short-staffed, so I had to take a lot of the walk-ins. But it was interesting because these are people that most people didn't want to talk to.
Yeah.
I was closing at a very high ratio. But if you would have given them to somebody else, I don't personally believe that would have been the case, because what I was really good at and I was strengthening was my ability to connect and build rapport.
Yeah. That the biggest thing, and I shared this, with your clients, you're really a trusted partner. Yeah. And when people throw trust out, but trust isn't something that you just give at the whim. It's like you earn trust, and it's through time. But when you can see someone and say, man, something in them, your discernment looks and says, you can feel the trust on that. It's like oozing out versus someone you're like, everything in you're using a lot of buzzwords. It's a whole lot of fluff. So it's awesome that early on you connected with people in such a meaningful way. It's like sometimes I say you see someone's soul, and like the soul to soul connection, like everything else falls off, because it's like, I know this person sees me in a way that they care. And that is that like moment for me personally. I'm like, that's the moment that you really connect with someone.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And it feels really good to have people experience that and see that, because from a very young age, I always cared so deeply about people, and I cared to pour into them. And I'm always looking to see, how can I help them? Almost to a fault.
Yeah.
I mean, being told in grammar school, don't do that because people will take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And I had to build up a hard shell over time, because I knew I couldn't survive in a world walking around so naive and innocent.
Yeah.
And so because of that shell, I actually had a lot of people misunderstand or misjudge me. And it really hurt, because on the inside I said, I care so much about you, I want to help you, but you're perceiving me as someone that's cold or hard to approach or closed off. And that really wasn't the case. But I also see now, looking back, that was just a gift, because the people that I'm meant to connect with, we instantly connect. And the people that I'm not meant to connect with, that would be those that take advantage, are the ones that I repel.
Yeah.
And so it's all been a gift, the entire experience of how I've developed the way that I exist in the world has been a gift that I can't really take too much credit for, in the sense that so much that's happened feels so led.
Yeah, divine. I was going to say
divinely led.
Yeah.
Every person, every experience, God is always in the conversation. Even if I don't overtly talk about it,
it comes up.
It always comes up.
That's how it came up with us. I was like, I have no idea. Well, I'm just going to be so transparently honest and vulnerable right now. And I said, honest to God, y'all, I said, I feel so divinely in my God purpose. And when me and Zhanna chatted, I was just like, literally the previous day for my own business, I was talking about, okay, you need to be more intentional with the strategy, specifically, what about the strategy? And then next thing you know, me and her were meeting. And I do genuinely believe, I always say this, when God gives abundance, he gives people opportunities and choices. But the first being people, and you guys will hear me say that over and over and over again. It needs to be a quote on a shirt, because people will be abundant for you, and the right people will help lead you next on your journey and be like these sweet guideposts that are like, hey, come this way, you're going the right way in life, So I do want to say, like, where now the work that you do, like, we kind of get this background of, who Zhanna is, where you kind of come from, and it takes choice to not stay this hardened individual in life. Like, you can have an upbringing that says, hey, look at the world through this lens, but you actually have to choose something different, and you've done that. But now let's talk about the work that you do and how you actually genuinely help impact, like, from coaching to strategic, having a strategic business, to the AI. Like, what does that work look like, and what ignites you with that work?
Well, you said something that I really want to highlight, and that God comes in the form of opportunity. Yeah. And every single step on my journey, as we said, has been divinely led. And it all comes from it. We have as a responsibility as a human being. God's not going to just deliver it on a silver platter for you.
Yeah.
So what I learned back when I was in corporate, I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. It was exhausted, and it wasn't fulfilling anymore. And I stayed as long as I did because there was still something for me to learn.
Yeah.
I said, how can I excel at this? How can I get better at this? When I stopped that feeling of, okay, there's nothing left. When that feeling came, there's nothing left here for me, is when I exited corporate. And that's when it wasn't like a clean break. I want to say this because a lot of you may be, dipping your toe thinking, I'm ready to start my entrepreneurship journey, or maybe you already have your business and you're in corporate and you want to go all in. It is not like sunshine, rainbows, and daffodils. It is a hard thing to pursue, and it's hard because we haven't built resilience. We don't have the skill set. And there's a huge mindset gap. And what I mean by that, I walked out of organizations where I was able to 10x their revenue, always have incredible impact on their bottom line and cash flows and developing their leadership. But when I started my business, for me, it was, will anyone actually pay me for this? Mm-hmm. Am I qualified to actually do this work?
Yeah.
How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was leaning on a power far greater than myself.
Yeah.
Asking for help. You drop to your knee moments.
Yeah.
Because how am I going to do this? Where's the money going to come from? Where are the clients going to come from? Having that intentional conversation, both in your mind and understanding that you're willing to do the work when inspiration hits.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
Because I think that so many people say, I had to ask for help. Like, what were your help prayers?
Okay, I'll give you a very clear example. I was working at my corporate job.
Yeah.
And I had left the first job, and I knew then I should have started my own business, but I wasn't ready. So I went into another one. And it was funny, from there I got poached for another one. And it was a moment of, I just was like, okay, we're back at this miserable place where deep down I know this isn't for me. It's time to grow. And it was like, okay, God, that which is not for me, please take it all, remove it. I'm ready. I don't even know what that means.
We never know what it means, but it's so quick when he removes it.
So quick when everything is removed. And I'm going to say, veer on the side of caution. If you're not ready, do not make the ask, because it will happen, and it will happen swiftly.
It will happen.
And it happened swiftly. I all of a sudden got laid off from one job. I was working 2 jobs at this point.
Yeah.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I was working 3 jobs at the time.
Yeah.
Just because, why not? Felt good. I was like,
we like the money. We got to stack the money.
Here's why. Because I knew deep down I was going to eventually start a business, and I was using these jobs as venture capitalists to fund my future.
Yeah.
You know, stacking money away and investing in myself. And everything it was like the rug got pulled out from under me. And I'm like, okay, well, what in the world do I do now? I have no idea. And I had found a mentor online. I was just looking into different coaching models and had no idea what coaching meant.
Yeah.
I just knew that in my corporate career, that's what I did without knowing any of the methodologies that were out there. I liked people. I could connect with them. I could extract from their highest potentiality and help them find clarity, and then give them some sort of guidance on what they could do next to grow and develop as individuals, and then I set them free. That doesn't work well in corporate, by the way, because you really want to hold people for like decades. But I knew deep down if they came to me, they're probably not going to stay here for very long, because I saw them bigger than that.
So one thing I do have to ask, because when you were talking, and I've experienced this as well, you're getting poached, you have all these opportunities, and it's like a cycle that you keep getting to that same point where this internal feeling is like, something's off. And that's when the prayer comes, where you're like, hey, God, give me a sign, God, universe, whatever. And the sign is always there, because it's that internal, like, why do I keep reaching the same point? Yeah, I may be at a higher salary. Yeah, everything may look a little different, but something in me feels like, you know how it's like deja vu, where you're like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
And is that essentially what you were kind of where you were at? Like, I've been here, because that's how I felt. I was like, I keep hitting the same wall, and I go back, and then I hit the wall harder, and I'm like, it's not the wall, it's me.
Oh, 100%.
Like, it's not the wall, it's me. And so when you get to mindset shift, like, because to go from corporate to entrepreneur, building a business, it's a huge mindset shift.
It is. Yeah.
So take us through that mindset shift of what for yourself and for your clients as well.
So the mindset shift that you have to step into takes you from being in an employee mindset, where you're very much in the weeds, you're very singular focused, you have other people giving you direction and directive on how to proceed, and there isn't a lot of autonomy.
Yeah.
There's also not a ton of responsibility, and you're not wearing a bazillion hats.
Okay.
When you switch into entrepreneurship, you really have to take on a CEO mindset. And I see so many people, including myself, make the mistake of starting a business as an employee.
Yeah.
To their business. You leave one corporate job to replace it with your own job. You just happen to be working from your couch at home.
Yeah.
But the reality is, as a CEO, you look at business zoomed out. What are the big goals? What are the initiatives? What do we actually need to do to hit the goal, drive the numbers, create impact? Looking at it from an aerial perspective, why this is crucial, what it also does is it pulls you out of the emotion that most people will attach to the outcome of their business. What I mean by emotion is there's this whole worthiness thing that comes into play as an entrepreneur, where if you have a bad month, I'm not worthy.
Yeah. If you're not making money, it's about my value.
Me.
Yeah.
They didn't buy because of me. I'm doing something wrong. Me. It's very egocentric. Instead of looking at it from a practical lens. Okay, that didn't work. What can we do differently? And a lot of people in the beginning will let themselves get taken out by a failure. CEOs are not afraid of failure.
It's just trying.
It's just trial and error, and failure is actually an opportunity to learn, grow, and develop. And if you set out for 100 failures from today until next week, you'd be surprised how much success you actually achieve.
Yeah.
You're numbing yourself to the fear of being rejected. You're numbing yourself to the fear of failure. And all of a sudden, just by understanding there's a numbers game. I don't love talking about numbers games. I do feel that just throwing stuff out there isn't the way that I like to go about things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's just practical understanding of business. It is a numbers game. So if you shoot the shot 100 times, you're bound to actually convert 1 to 2.
But you're also, when you say that, you're looking at it from a strategic lens. You're still putting the numbers out there, but how do we equip you to shoot the shot correctly that many times? You're not just just taking the ball, throwing it over your head.
No.
It's how do you actually get in the proper form? What does that look like? Now you shoot the shot, and now we have to do this over and over and over and over and over again until it hits. So it still is a numbers game, but you see it from a lens of strategy and intentionality and actual proper form. And in the physical body, like, you have to have really good form, but then in the mindset, you actually need to have your mind have really great form and perform for you in the best way that it can. So I get exactly what you mean. Yeah. Like, it's still a numbers game, but it's intentional. Like,
it's intentional, and it's rooted in your own skill set, expertise. So when you say mindset, I try to veer away from the standard understanding of the work behind mindset, because I got caught up in it, and I see a lot of people do as well. What do I mean by that? A lot of the time, people get stuck in the why they do with the thing they do, and they ruminate. They try to shift their mindset versus, okay, I have this fear, I have this like negative thought, whatever.
Yeah.
I would just rather call them a useful or an unuseful thought, because sometimes negative thoughts are useful because they're guiding you to look at something within yourself.
Yeah.
So what's the thing that's actually holding me back? It's not going to be solved at the level of the mind.
Yeah.
So if I know I want to start my business and I want to start working with clients, and I have a really good product that I can provide for them and value, then the only thing that's stopping me is me putting myself out there and opening up the conversation.
Yeah.
And being open to, without attachment, where it might lead.
Okay.
So the mindset, the only issue we have with mindset is that we allow ourselves to get frozen in inaction. That's your only mindset problem that you have. Because if you want to break through the fear, go do the thing that terrifies you. Yes. If you want to learn how to sell, go start selling.
You have to start
and fall
selling.
flat on your face 100 times so that you can learn how to do that. The only problem we have is the fact that we don't actually take the action to learn the new skill set.
Because people most of the time want to be perfect to get the first time they put themselves out there, they want to get a yes.
Right.
But what you don't realize when you're out there selling or meeting people or just getting in the practice of, you'll be embraced.
Yes.
Like if you're selling something or your bit, whatever it is, right? You'll meet individuals who have a growth mindset and are like, they see you where you are and they're like, yes, this is really awesome. You know, how can they want to help you? They may not be your client, and that's really good, right? But they also encourage you to keep going, and you can ask for that feedback, that help, whatever it is. So I love this.
Yeah, and it's really important. I want to speak to sales, because sales drives everything. If you look at metrics and we talk about strategies and numbers, the most important metric is revenue. Everything else is just cute. It makes you feel good. It's an ego boost.
Yeah.
Like the likes and the comments. Unless it's converting, it's not actually doing anything for you. You don't have a business. You have a hobby. And the thing that I want to talk about when it comes to being strategic in sales is it's never about trying to sell the other person your product.
Okay.
It's about getting to deeply understand who they are, assessing if they are an ideal fit for your product, and how your product can solve a major pain point for them. If you approach every conversation trying to get to know the human being in front of you, then you'll lead yourself to more sales organically.
Okay. Versus someone who is trying to share, this is everything I can do for you. You need to actually get to know the person because they'll tell you their problem.
Exactly. And so my strategy is being intentional. Okay, so I have this goal for the month. That goal relates to being able to provide for my family, being able to invest in our future, and reinvest back into my business. So I know what's important for me, what's in it for me. And I'd really love to impact however many lives this month. And then I go about my day seeking out opportunities to connect with people. And the most amazing connections occur, the most incredible conversations happen. And if you were to look at it from the outside, it would appear as if I'm lucky and things just fall in my lap. But why that happens is because every day I am being disciplined in what I focus on, my time, my energy. Where am I thinking I want to spend this next hour strategically for me and my business? If I have a goal this month to connect with 20 new ideal clients and I don't do anything to put myself out there, then there's going to be no movement forward. And so when I have my background set in terms of my intentions and what I need, then the sales organically happen because I end up at the right place at the right time, talking to the right people. And again, I'm not trying to sell them. It feels to me like I'm in a conversation with God. And I get these moments of, there's like this chill where I meet someone and I'm like, I just have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like observing the conversation and seeing, is this something that could even serve them?
Yeah.
Why am I even getting that thought? Because I'm not trying to sell everybody in the room ever. But I know that the right person's going to find me. So when I end up in a conversation and it evolves, and then they ask me, because, people, what's the first question people ask you?
What do you do?
And I've gotten really clear on what that is and can articulate it. So now when it's for someone, they're like, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
That's the first thing of mindset.
Yeah.
You have to be clear.
Very, very clear and very, very specific. But as you were talking, it made me wonder, like, when you're dealing with clients, like, how many people with their mindset have a money block? Like, or they feel they have a money block, where or a limiting belief when it comes to connecting or getting clients or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Like, there's that moment of like, I know something's here, but I don't know how to get to it, and I feel just blocked. And which is where that I think worthiness kind of conversation comes in, because you feel like you are in your own way.
Yeah. I'll give you a practical example of how this looks. So, yes, I do see it often. I try not to focus too much on it because, again, we can get stuck in it.
Yeah.
But the easiest way out of your money block is by going to do the thing that makes you money, and that's talking to people about what you do and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to make the money. Again, we could talk for hours around mindset.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that people need to remember is your mindset has to be solutions oriented. So instead of focusing on, I have a money block issue, in that situation, somebody with a growth mindset, a solutions mindset, is looking for the solution for the lack of money, not seeking to understand the block.
The why. That's
right.
When you talk about ruminating on the why so much. Why don't I have money?
Exactly. It is your fault. You are not doing what you need to do to put yourself out there, to go get the job, to champion for yourself in your position to put yourself in rooms, have the conversations, and if you want a really good strategy, go give.
Yeah.
Put yourself in rooms where you can give more than you receive.
But when you say that it is your fault, I think I want people to hear it's okay for it to be your fault.
100%. Yeah,
it's
please
okay.
Don't take that as
no, but I think so often we're like, man, and you then keep sitting in the like, man, it's my fault and all the reasons why it is my fault, but you keep having to go back to that solution and action and execution side of things. Like, it's okay. It's so okay that this is your fault. Okay. What are we going to do next, though? Like,
exactly. It's responsibility, not like victimizing yourself. Not it's my fault and I'm broken and I can't do anything about it. It's my fault in the sense of this is my responsibility. I have created this mess. It is my responsibility to get myself out of this mess.
And I have a choice. And I think this even goes back to when you think about patterns and cycles that you see. How do you get yourself out of the loop of the circle? It's choosing a new choice, question, answer. Like, if you've always answered the question the same way, it's time to pick a new answer. How do I get a new way of looking at this, new perspective? Let me just step out for a second. Yes. And you're on a new path and journey.
So here's the practical example. I hear this. I've heard this from the beginning of time. I still hear this, where someone will want to work with me, or someone's potential client wants to work with them, but they say, oh, I can't until X.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's not the problem. The thing that's interesting about the mindset and how that plays out in their business is this same person or people, because it happens a lot, is the same person doing that in their business. Meaning, until I get X, I won't invest in Y.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why every person that they're currently attracting is telling them the same exact thing.
Exactly.
That's just understanding the law of resonance and how the things that we're going through attract lessons to us. And it's not to say go and spend all this money and invest in yourself, but if you know deep down that something is the right next step for you and you avoid that thing, then you will attract lessons to mirror that same thing back to you until you make the correct choice. And then like miraculously all this other stuff shifts. It's like the thing you've been avoiding is the thing that's blocking you, not the thing that you've been thinking is blocking you.
Yeah.
And so it's just people not realizing cause and effect.
Yeah.
Where if this person is reflecting this to me, where in my life am I also behaving this way that I get to look at, assess, and shift and pivot within myself? Because once you shift it internally and take the corrective action that you've been avoiding, everything outside of you just starts to mirror that same thing.
This is powerful because I think not just entrepreneurial spaces, but just like personal development. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people don't realize that within their relationships, if you're attracting the same kind of partner, people are like, what's going on, babe? It's you. Just look in the mirror. We're standing in our own mirror, looking at ourselves, and we're like, no, this is the face of this person. It's the face of you. It's the face of you and your lessons. And are you open to receive and not judge yourself because this is the lesson in front of you and welcome it? Like, man, maybe I do need to zoom out and look at it from a different perspective. A part of me wants to be like, this is like the CEO mindset for life.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. Like how can we zoom out? We're so zoomed into our feelings and emotions and why, like having a centered why you do what you do, that just means has that purpose is fine, but not staying so tight to and held on to like, I have to see it this way and I have to do it this way. So exactly. This is why I wanted her on the podcast, y'all. Like, oh my gosh. So just as you think about like what's next for you, your clients, what services are you offering? Like, tell us more about, you know, what the next year, 5 years looks like. for your goals and things that you have. And please give a deeper dive into what you actually do with your business. Yeah. Because Iris
is amazing.
We have ChatGPT, but let's talk about Iris. You know?
Yes. Okay. So, background in operations, learned everything about business, went into business for myself. I was able to, within 2 weeks, start working with clients. I give credit to everything that I learned in corporate for me to be able to go and step into this full throttle. Efficiency has always been my thing.
Okay.
How can I make things easier for people? How can I solve a problem? #easy button was like my go-to when I started. And so fast forward to running a business, one of the things that was the biggest pain point for me and everybody that I've ever met is marketing. Mm-hmm. So marketing was a pain. Content copywriting was a pain. I had severe stage fright, and doing something like I'm doing right now, I would have frozen, blacked out, and couldn't do an interview.
Oh, my God.
To talk about facing your fear, doing the thing, and overcoming your limitation in your mind. And can you imagine that person articulating a paragraph to someone about an offer? No way. I would not have been able to do it. Right. And it was working with clients that helped me see more clearly. But it wasn't until last year that I had a huge breakthrough. And again, I always give credit to our thoughts aren't our own. Yeah. They're coming from God, a power far greater than us. Mm-hmm. And I had a massive breakthrough in how I could comprehend the impact that I have had in every scenario I've ever been in. It was like somebody turned the light bulb on, the Pandora's box exploded, and I all of a sudden could understand how I could articulate clearly. And in that, I also said, okay, I'm not going to sit here and write copy for hours and hours a day. This is when ChatGPT had first come out, and I started playing with ChatGPT, and I took this newfound clarity and used it to create a series of posts that generated me multiple clients. I think it was like 22 leads and then multiple 5 figures. And I said, wow, I'm onto something, but it still sucks. Yeah. Oh, anybody use ChatGPT, especially all the new iterations? You always have to reteach it.
Yeah. Chad, I call him Chad, and Chad, Chad has his issues.
Yeah, it's only as good as the person prompting the AI. So in my business, I decided, okay, how can I efficiently take what I just learned and build it out into my own custom AI? This is right when ChatGPT made the OpenAI source available, where you can go in and build your own custom AI bots. And I did everything that I had learned. I included my IP, my frameworks, the way that I see the world, the way that what I've learned through my coaching. So it's a strategist and a content copywriter that is programmed to use persuasion levers.
Wow. Okay.
To actually formulate a piece of content for you with your stories to convert the person that's reading the post without you having to understand conversion copywriting, understand strategy. You simply have to emote your life experience, and it will formulate a post, a pitch, a sales page, you name it.
In your tone.
In your tone. Obviously, one of the things that I do is the bot itself is great, but if you don't know how to use it, there's no point to it. So I actually meet with my clients, and we do a deep dive. We talk about strategy, and I extract everything that is needed to make this instance of Iris work specific to their business. Yeah. So that everything that she writes is going to speak directly to their offers, create a strategy that sells for them, and the copy with hooks and all of the storylines that they provide it turned into messaging that positions them to sell, so that inbound leads start to reach out to them.
And this is awesome, because I think sometimes you can see when someone has used like ChatGPT, because like you'll go on one page and you'll be like, that sounds exactly like that page. And so essentially what Iris is allowing people to differentiate themselves and create that brand voice, that identity that is not somewhere else on the internet, but like you actually speaking to Iris and sharing like, this is my business, and the prompted role, what you've created this bot to do is be a partner and strategist with them to say, let me use your words for you and create the content and now sell for you.
Yes.
But it's you, it's essentially you.
It's you in AI form that also happens to be highly well-trained on conversion copywriting.
Yeah.
So, and you'll learn more about this in an hour.
Yeah. I've seen Iris at work. She was really good. I was like, girl, you earned your keep.
Yeah.
Chad has moments where I'm like, you didn't get it right.
Chad does everything, and without specificity and clarity, you're not going to get as good of an output. So the goal was solve a major, major problem in the industry that I saw, and that's marketing, especially for entrepreneurs that want to be in their zone of genius, do not want to focus on marketing, don't have the time or the energy. One post, one piece of copy, one blog takes about 5 minutes that may have taken a month before, but you're actually writing something that's going to move the needle. Yeah. That was a huge pain point that I knew I needed to solve for myself. And when I saw it working for me, I'm like, everybody needs this.
Yeah.
It's going to save time. It's going to save the mental load. So now all that time and energy you were spending on marketing can be spent on the things that actually matter. That's being in your business with your clients, selling more, whatever you need to do that is your zone of genius. You can now remove a really big hat.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I can talk to her all day, which I can because I'll just text you.
Yeah.
We have an event shortly. But as we're closing out, what is something that maybe you didn't say here today that when you're in the car going home, you're like, man, I wish I left the listeners with this? Like, what's something you maybe didn't get to share that you're like, this is really on my heart to share with people?
And you're right, that does happen every single time. Yeah. So, but if I just had to say what's on my mind right now, and that's, if it's on your heart, then it's for you to pursue it. There is nothing that's going to stop you but yourself. You are your biggest competitor and saboteur. As Layla Hermosi says, the spam messages will be really loud some days. Mm-hmm. And those are those thoughts. You can either allow them to guide your day, your life, and your business, or you can simply assess and say, is this useful? If it's not, what is useful, and go in that direction. From there, you do that for even 30 days, and you will look back at your life and be incredibly in awe with how much you've accomplished.
I love that. That's like the perfect way to end today's comfortable conversation. So thank you so much for joining us today, Zhanna.
Thank you for having me. This was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.